So I'll be sharing my screen shortly. Once my screen shows up, let me know if you can also see it.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Perfect. Is it okay now? Perfect, perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So today we are going to take a look at network devices. I know some of you have an idea of what it is, others don't. And we would have a basic overview, what a network device is, the various types. And then after that, we are going to take a look at firewalls. All right. We are not supposed to spend more than 30 minutes on this. It will be very short. All right. So the objectives is to understand what a network device, what network devices are, and also know the types of network devices. All right. So network devices are physical devices that are required for communication and interaction between hardware on a computer. So basically, one thing that I think most of you have a computer science degree, an IT degree, and it goes on and on and on and on. Others have other degrees, and that is really great. But then when we talk about network devices, we are technically trying to understand how do you connect to the network, right? Sometimes we also say that our phones can connect to the network, so probably it's a network device. But in this case, we are going to limit ourselves to the ones that provide specific functionality. And some of the types are the NIC, the gateway, the hub, the switch, the router, the proxy server, IDS, and IPS. So if you've heard of any of these, can you just give me a yes in the chat? Any of these types, have you heard of it before? Whether you know what it means or you don't know what it means, can you just give me a yes in the chat? All right, fantastic. All right, so the first network device we are going to look at is a network interface card. And for a network interface card, it is basically an adapter that is used to connect a computer to a network. That is the function of a network interface card. An adapter that is used to connect a computer to a network. So this works on the physical layer of the OSI model. So from yesterday's lecture by Mr. Shadi, he explained that the OSI model has several layers. I think that would be Mr. John, explained that it has several layers. There's a physical on and on and on to the application layer. So every device has the layer that it actually works on, but we are not going to focus on that today. So one of the first devices we are looking at is a network interface card, which is an NIC or a NIC. And if you can see where my mouse is pointing, these ones can actually work on these ones can work on only a desktop. The ones that have the silver or the metallic plates at the bottom. So this one will work on a desktop, and it has an outlet for an Ethernet cable, right? it has an outlet for an Ethernet cable. So for those of you that don't know what an Ethernet cable is, most of the time, if you want to connect to a network and there is no Wi-Fi, you would see that some people would connect a cable from a port on the wall or on the floor or wherever it is to their computers directly, and then they have internet. So this is how that port looks like. And then the one on the right, which has the antenna, basically is mostly for Wi-Fi. So this is a network interface card that gives you access to Wi-Fi. Because if you have built a desktop before, if you've used that desktops of the past before, let's say Pentium 4 desktops, Pentium 2, all of that, you will notice that some of them cannot connect to Wi-Fi. I'm talking about desktops and not laptops. Some of them cannot connect to Wi-Fi, and the only thing they have at the rear end of the system unit will be something like this, a port like this. So in order to give your desktop that extra functionality, you might have to purchase something like this, which would give you the extra Wi-Fi functionality, or then there is this. So as time went on, it became very, obsolete or old to purchase these big ones, because in this modern world, we are using laptops, and for laptops, we can't put these in because it would not fit. There are no extra space or no expansion slots for these. So we resorted to using this little USB, I want to say a pen drive, but it's not a pen drive because it looks like it, but it's a USB connector. And you can actually get Wi-Fi access by just connecting this to your laptop. So once you connect this to your laptop actually has an extra Wi-Fi device. So there was times I was teaching information security and networking at the University of Ghana, and then we wanted to use Kali, but then Kali had an issue because Kali, if you use Kali in a virtual box, I think you get to know this later, it doesn't allow you to connect to Wi-Fi when you're using it in a virtual box, unless you are running it directly. So we had to get these devices for each student. They connect it to their virtual box, and then the Kali has access to Wi-Fi. So this has been one of my lifesavers over the years. And then the one at the bottom is actually, there's a network interface card for a laptop. So when you open your laptop, if you ever get the chance to open your laptop, you would see something shaped like this in your laptop, and that is the NIC for your laptop. It is basically an adapter that is used to connect a computer to a network. So without these things, your computer cannot connect to a network. If you buy some of your devices now for a laptop, these things are already in it. And sometimes these ones are already on the motherboard, so you don't have to do anything else. All right. So the next device we are going to look at is the gateway. So a gateway has this interesting look. How many of you have heard of a gateway before?
Me in my graduation project.
Fantastic.
We connect
so,
the small hardware with the gateway.
Okay, that's an interesting one, Jude. So Jude has had an experience with a gateway before, and that is excellent. I know some of you have also had experiences before. So a gateway is usually a computer or a device which has multiple network interface cards, or NICs, because we just looked at what an NIC is, which are connected to different networks. So a gateway basically sometimes looks like a router, which we would see later, but then there's a difference between the two of them. So what a gateway does is that it is able to connect different networks together, right? So I could create my hotspot, Nujud could create her hotspot, and then we would have a gateway in the middle, and it would be able to connect these two types of networks together at a point. Assuming maybe Nujud's network is a LAN or Ethernet network, it's with physical cables. A gateway is able to connect networks that are not similar together. However, for routers, they can only connect networks that are similar. So that is the difference between a gateway and a router. Now, the next device we are going to look at is the hub. And I've had several experiences with the hub, and as well as a switch, which we'll look at in the next slide. And so hubs connect multiple computer networking devices together. And Okay, so what do I mean by similar network? So for a router is able to connect, let's say, a LAN to another LAN, and it would work. But however, a router would not be able to connect a LAN and then a Wi-Fi network or a different type of network together. So Wi-Fi's only work with similar networks, but then gateways work with different types of networks, meaning that you could have Wi-Fi, you could have a LAN network at one point, you could have a MAN at one point, you could have a virtual LAN at one point, and a gateway is able to bring all of them together. Does that make sense, Modi? So that was a question by Modi, where where he or she asked, what do I mean by similar networks? So that was why I explained what I explained. So moving on, and at any point in time, if you have a question, you can just ask in the chat. You can just say it, and you are at liberty to do all of that. And I'm going to pause and then answer the questions because your understanding is very important. So Asia is asking if a gateway is between a user and the internet. So most of the time, I think, yes, a gateway would exist at some point, but it may not be the first. It may not be your first point of contact. Your first point of contact might be a router, it might be a switch, it might be a hub, probably before you get to the internet. And sometimes a router could act as a gateway, and I don't want to go into all of that. But then, yes, a gateway would be between the user and the internet because it would mostly be in the middle of that communication. Is that okay, Asia? All right, shukran. Thank you. And so moving on, if there are no other questions, moving on, appreciate that, Asia. So for hubs connect multiple computer networking devices together. So a hub could be connecting a laptop to a desktop, to another hub, to a router, to a switch. It's more like it's just in the middle trying to connect different devices together. However, we mostly say that a hub is not smart or a hub is not intelligent. If we had an IQ test today, a hub is going to fail. If a hub was a human being, it was going to fail an IQ test terribly. So a hub is not an intelligent device because whenever a hub receives information, it spreads the information to every device on the network. It is also available on the physical layer. So for example, if I want to communicate with Asia, Modi, and then Nujud, and let's say we all have laptops, right? 3 laptops, right? So assuming there is no Wi-Fi, and this is how we are going to communicate, I'm going to communicate an Ethernet cable from my laptop to the hub, and then Nujud is also going to connect another cable from her laptop to the hub. So, and then the same as Modi. So at the end of the day, all 3 of us are connected to each other through the hub. Now, if I want to send information to Nujud, whatever, let's say I want to send hello to Nujud, once I type in hello, this hello is going to go to Asia, go to Modi, and then also go to Nujud. That is what the hub does. It sends information to all devices on the network. But then for other devices, it may not be the same. So that is why we say that a hub is not an intelligent device, which is because it is not able to determine, or it is not able to differentiate between devices. It doesn't sort out and say, okay, you came in first, you received this, you came in second, you received. It doesn't do anything like that. It's like a broadcast. Once I receive, I send it to everyone. That is how hubs behave. Now we are going to look at other devices, and you would see that they also look exactly like the hub, and it will just let us know that. So this is a switch, right? And it looks exactly like a hub because they all have Ethernet ports at the bottom, sorry, at the rear end. And I'm spelling Ethernet in the chat. So for anyone who wants to check that out, you could just Google Ethernet cable, and then you are going to see the cable I'm talking about. So a hub looks exactly or similar to a switch, but then the difference is in the functionality. So there's an extra functionality in there. You could have 2 devices looking the same, but then the functionality is what differentiates them, right? So a switch delivers data frames or data which is into bracket frames based on the hardware addresses of the destination computers or devices. So with a switch, it's basically, it's a bit intelligent compared to the hub, because for a switch, it can determine, okay, who has this MAC address, who has this MAC address. Now, MAC address is media access control address, and they are mostly permanent addresses that are attached to a particular network interface card. So you see that there's a link between all these devices. A MAC address is mostly, or a MAC address mostly belongs to a network interface card, and it doesn't change. However, there are softwares available that you could use to change these MAC addresses just to trick certain people. We will get to that too later. So your laptop, as you are using now, has a MAC address. Your mobile phone even has a network interface card in it. So therefore, it also has a MAC address, because a network interface card is an adapter that is used to connect to a network. So without a network interface card, your devices would not be able to connect to a network. So if a mobile phone is able to connect to a network, that means it has a network interface card in it. If, you know, now, okay, so I'm going to ask a question and I want to see the answers in the chat, all right? So what devices can connect to networks in recent world? In the past, it was just computers, maybe printers and stuff. But now we have so many things connecting to a network. Even speakers can connect to a network. So can you give me some of the new things that can connect to a network now? So let me see that in the chat. Whatever device you think can connect to a network in 2022 that could not connect to a network in the past. I'm going to give you one. Now, even TVs can connect to a network. Yes, IoTs, Abdullahi, thank you very much. TV, yes, there is the cars, excellent one. So that means your car can be hacked, right? If you're in your car and then one day someone hacks you, then someone will drive you to wherever you go. There's the fridge, excellent, Nujud. Thank you, Ali. And there's a fridges. Fridges can connect to network now. Smartwatches. Thank you, Shadin. Anything else? Anything else? I need a lot of you to give me these answers, because literally everything around you in your house can actually connect to the internet now. Lights. Thank you, Asia. Any other? Any other? I'm looking for the weird ones, like the things you find in the kitchen, because those are a lot. The air condition, fantastic. Maha, fantastic. Mohammed, both of you said air condition. Vacuum cleaner by Lama. Through the door, that's also part of it, because now you could just command your door to either open or lock. So now that's accurate. The camera is also good. So it looks like you all have a great idea of some of these devices, and I love that. So now look at all these devices that can connect to the network, right? Without a network interface card, these devices cannot connect to a network. So no matter how small it is, there is a network interface card within it. Now, the fact that I showed a network interface card looking like this does not mean that these are the only types available. For example, if you have a light bulb in your room, right, and it can connect to your network because you can control it with your phone, it means that the network interface card in there is relatively smaller, because IT is so advanced that we don't really need big devices anymore. Before, we used to have a hard disk that looks as big as a table, or even RAM that looks as big as a table. And now RAM looks so small, even hard disks, SSDs look so small. So the same with network interface cards, we have smaller versions of it. So, oh, it looks like I'm going ahead of myself, sorry. So back to our MAC address. So any device that has a network interface card, which also means any device that can connect to a network, has a MAC address, because this is how the computer would sort of, identify it on a network. So a MAC address is a hexadecimal address, and give me a second to pull up a MAC address on the screen. So I'm going to pause that here. All right, just a second. Pull up my browser. So pull up my browser, same portion of the screen. All right, can you see my browser? All right,
Yes, we
perfect.
can.
Thank you very much, Abdullahi. So this is what a MAC address looks like. Now, I know there's a lot on the screen, but can you see the part that I've highlighted? Yes, so that is what a MAC address looks like. And it's a 12-character alphanumeric attribute that is used to identify individual electronic devices on a network. All right, so this is how a MAC address looks like. This is it. It's basically like, specific. It's just like your DNA, right? What makes you different from the other person is your DNA. So for every device that can connect to the network, this is how we identify them. Because whenever you put my fingerprint or my DNA somewhere, a machine will be able to detect that this is only Derek Brown and this is not Abdullahi. So that is how MAC addresses work. They are just basically identification numbers. All right, so back to our slide. Now, so since devices have MAC addresses, right, that means that whenever I'm on the same network again, right, I was on a network with Nujud, I was on a network with, I think, Modi, and then the last person would be, I forgot the last name, so pardon me. Anyway, so if we are on the network, right, and then I want to send information from my end to Modi, right, once I send hello, this hello would go through this port. Let's say Modi is connected from this port and I am on the first port, right? So if I send hello, this hello would go through the wire, get into the switch, and then the switch would find its way to send it to Modi only. For the hubs, when I send something from here, it would go to everyone on the network, all 4 people. But then for this, it was Rahat. Okay, so Rahat wants to join the network. All right. So Rahat is the new member on the network. So Derek is here. Rahat is the 4th one, and then Modi is the last one. So for a hub, if I wanted to send, then there was Nujud, so Nujud would be the 3rd. So if I wanted to send something, if I send something on the hub, right? Let's use the hub. If I send something on the hub and I go through this port, it would go to every single person who is connected, Modi, Rahat, and even Nujud. But with switches, if I send the information and it's meant to go to only Modi, who is on the 5th port, it would go in there, and then the switch, because it is a little bit intelligent, not the most intelligent, a little bit intelligent, it would be able to check, because switches have a table where within that table, they actually put in information which states that computer 4 has this MAC address. So maybe Nujud's laptop has this MAC address, Derek's laptop has that MAC address, and then Rahat, same thing, same as Modi. So once I send information and I want it to go to Modi, the switch will check this table that contains the MAC address and the computer name, and then know that Modi is on the 5th machine, is the 5th machine on this network, and this is his MAC address. And it is going to send it directly to Modi. So that is what makes a switch different from a hub. Yes, Lama, it will send it to a specific address, but the address is a MAC address. So it is the MAC address that makes it possible for switches to be able to communicate and also send information. So for Mohammed says it has self-learning technique. I think so. First, it would flag the packet to all of them first, and then it can send to a specific one. Right? Yes, it will actually do some host discovery, probably ARP, address resolution protocol, which I don't want to go into. So the switch will sort of send a broadcast to everyone like, who are you, who are you, who are you, who are you? And then everyone will respond back. Or sometimes if you want to send a specific one, it would, Manal, I'll get your question shortly. So if it wants to send a specific packet, the switch will make a broadcast and ask, who is computer number 3? And then who is computer number 5? And then Moody's computer would respond, I am computer number 5, and this is my IP address. Then the switch will keep it in the records, and then every information that is meant for it will go to it. This can also make people attack, or this can make certain attacks easy, because some people can do an ARP spoofing, or they can fake and say that I am that particular machine. So there are also other ways to protect, which we would get into all of these technicalities later. Today's class is to go into the basics of these network devices. And Instructor Lloyd is going to have an amazing time with you, or he's going to take you through everything. He's so smart, and you guys are going to have a great time. So yes, Mohammed, I agree with you, and that concept is actually perfect. So now, does the switch generate the MAC address? No, the switch does not generate the MAC address. The MAC address already exists on your network device, or on your network interface card, or on whatever device you are using to connect on the network. It already has the MAC address. Even your phone has a MAC address now. So once you connect it to a switch, the switch is now going to make a table of the MAC address the phone has, the MAC address Derek's laptop has, the MAC address maybe the fridge has. So that is what happens. Is that okay, Manal? A switch does not generate it. It only keeps records of whatever address you bring in. All right, thank you very much. So moving on, the next device we are going to look at is a router. And for routers, I think a large number of you would know what a router is like. It's so common. We've heard of it so many times, whether we know the functionality or not. We know that. Sure, Abdullah, you can do that. All right. So a router is able to do a lot of things, which I'll get to shortly. Maha is asking, when I want to send a packet, who shall know the MAC address? Right. So when you want to send a packet, okay, to identify the destination when you are using a switch. So if you want to send a packet, I wish I could just share. This would be hard, but let's just hope it turns out nice. Just a second. Where's the whiteboard? Yeah. My my mouse will be terrible, but let's just hope. So this is our switch. Pardon me, right? Switch. And right, switch. And then we have laptop 1. Oh, no. I want the other one. Yep. So if the drawings don't go well, you can blame me. Wow, this looks good. I didn't think I could do this well. So this is laptop 1. Wow, L1. And then we have laptop 2. Wow. I know this looks like a bed, but let's all pretend it's a laptop, okay? Because, yeah. Is it looking nice, everyone? Because, yeah, this looks like a king-size bed. L1 looks like a king-size bed, but I'll take it. Looks like it has pillows and all. Anyway, so going back to, this is a switch, right? And 1 is connected to the switch through a cable. Thank you very much, Shadin. Yeah, I know. It's hard, but we are trying. I'm using my mouse, so, but I'm proud of myself. Oh, Mohammed says it's better than his drawing. Well, I've not seen you draw, but I think it would be way better than mine. So this is the switch, right? And then on the switch, there is something called the routing table. I think someone mentioned that earlier. That would be the switching table. Yes, the switching table or the routing table. It has different names. Probably will be the address resolution protocol, ARP table. Pardon me, I may not be accurate in the specific word. So this table, right, has something like this. Oh, this is going so well. So well. That's straight. The last one. Oh, anyway. So we have computer name, right? Computer. And then over here we have the MAC address, right? Sorry for the shorthand. Rahat says I'm an artist. I don't agree, but thanks for the compliment regardless. Shukran, Barakallah Fik. So so MAC address of L1 and L2, I'm going to write that here, and this might not be accurate, okay? So let's say MAC address will be A-3-5-6. This is not how a MAC address should look like, but let's pretend it is a MAC address, all right? Then this will be B-4-5-6, right? Now, this is okay. So based on this information, right, we have a switch, we have these are two laptops, and then we have the switching table. Let me put that here. The name might not be accurate, but let's just say it's a switch table or it contains MAC addresses, right? So now we have L1, L2 connected to this switch, and then there's a switch table. So now this table, all that this table does is that it has records of what laptop has what MAC address. So over here, we would have L1 here, right? Because you know that your laptop actually has names, right? You know, when you're about to log in, there's a name you have, a username. Even if you open a command prompt, there's a name that pops up. All of these are the names that when you connect to a network, they would identify you by. We can skip all of that. But let's assume your computer name is L1, right? And then this should be L2, right? I know my drawing is not accurate, but I need this to at least be in the right position. All right, so L1 here, L2 here. Good, that's an alignment. Now I'm going to copy this. All right, and then I'm going to put that here. Text, so here, right? And then the next one should be, ladies and gentlemen, just a second. The artist needs a few seconds to gather his thoughts and to get this looking good. So I might have to put this here. L2. I hope I have not left anyone behind in terms of explaining. So if I've left you behind, let me know so that I come for you, because that is not the goal. So B, we have our 4, we have our 5, and then we have our 6. Good. That's all I needed. All right. So Maha's question was, how do we identify the destination, right? So this is how a switch will identify the destination of a packet. So if L1, right, which is laptop 1, wants to send information to laptop 2, right, through the cable, if I want to send hello to laptop 2, I'm going to send this message to the switch. It has to go through the switch. And at this point, the switch has a table. And in that table, it has records of each computer and its associated MAC address. So this is how the table looks like. Laptop 1, your MAC address. Laptop 2, your MAC address. So since I want to send information to L2, the switch would check whatever information I'm sending, because whatever thing I'm sending, which is the hello, will have information of which laptop, what the destination is, right? So hello is going in, and within the hello message, I've told the switch that the destination should be laptop 2. So switch will now come to check the switch table and then check, is this laptop 2? No. Is this laptop 2? Yes. Okay. So what is the MAC address of laptop 2? It would see B:4:5:6. All right. Then it would direct that information to the laptop on the network that has this particular MAC address. So that is how a switch is able to determine the destination. But however, whoever is sending the message would have already included that information, that this information is meant for laptop 2 or laptop 1, right? So that is, I hope wait, does this whole thing make sense? Besides my drawing being the best drawing of the century, does this make sense? The explanation of the switching table. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And okay, I must be a painter. I tried. I used to draw Mickey Mouse and the nose was big or the ears were smaller. The proportion was not working, so I had to give up that career. So here we are, teaching cybersecurity. So I'm going to share. Thank you, very clear. I appreciate that, Maha. So back to our PowerPoints. And just a second. Clear. Remove. All right, so back to our slide. Can you see our slides? Okay, perfect. So now with routers, right? I'm going to skip through these very quickly because we have like 4 more slides, then we are done. Then we have like a quick break. Then we go through firewalls because that is the next topic for today. And that is also going to be a short one. So routers are also used as a gateway between different kinds of networks, right? But then, as I said, the main difference between the two, because a router can be used as a gateway, but I really don't want to confuse anyone here. So let's assume that a router, sorry about that. Let's assume that a router is a device that is able to connect different networks. However, with routers, the networks have to be similar, which I've explained before. In as much as I'm saying different networks, it means that we could have a hotspot named Derek and another hotspot named Manal, and then it would be able to join the two of them. In as much as they are different in terms of they don't belong to the same person, but then they are all Wi-Fi networks. So a router can join both of them together, right? But then for a gateway specifically, it uses certain specifics, which I've explained initially. So routers are one of the most intelligent devices we have because routers are able to keep track of your MAC address. Routers are able to keep track of your, what is the other one? Routers are able to also keep track of your IP address, is able to keep track of so many things. Routers can even block a network. Routers can act as a firewall. So it can do so many things. And these are examples of routers. It could look so different. It could look so weird. But at the end of the day, so the one on the right, which is the dark one, is actually a high-powered router for gaming because it has so many antennas and is able to stabilize probably on and on. And I heard that in Saudi, you all have like lots of 5G routers. Am I right? Because I've not seen that physically before. Do you have lots of, because that's what I heard. So can anyone confirm that there are lots of 5G routers in Saudi Arabia? Oh, wow. That means you're all ahead of us. Huh. So in Ghana, since I'm in Ghana in Africa, we do not have, like, I think 5G networks are almost here. So probably they have to come in and then they have to get into the country first. You know, the networks have to open it up. And then maybe we will get to have these routers operating at their highest capacity. I think the main thing that Ghana has, you know, in accordance with Saudi Arabia, or we have something in something that's similar to what Saudi Arabia is Indomie. Because the last time I was a TA, like we had that discussion, and then apparently Saudi Arabia has had Indomie for like so many years. So hopefully one day I get to come to Saudi and then experience that. So moving on with the slide, this is how the router looks like. And then routers have a special feature called NAT, which is the network address translation. So a network address translation, the functionality is it allows internal network clients to share a single public IP address for access to the world. So that's how it works. So assuming I have created a Wi-Fi network, right? A hotspot, and I have Mohammed in there, I have Panadi in there, and I have Manal in there, right? They are all connected to my hotspot, right? Assuming my hotspot was created using a router, the router, we can all communicate internally. But anytime, let's say Manal wants to access google.com, Manal will be given a specific IP address. If Hanadi wants to also visit maybe wants to visit the Saudi Arabian government website, Manadi will be given the same IP address that was given to Manal. Then if Mohammed also wants to visit a different website, once he leaves the internal network, which is my hotspot, right? If we are all communicating with each other, that will be an internal network communication. But if any of you wants to access the internet, then the router would, once you get on the internet, the router gives everyone the same IP address. And this is to help with security and also to help save IP addresses, because at a point in time, the number of devices in the world compared to the number of IP addresses available were disproportional. So then this function was created so that we don't need to give everyone a new IP addresses every time. And yes, but now this is the reason. So that first of all, for security, which means that if anyone wants to attack a machine that is on our network, right, they will not get access to that machine directly. Let's say I'm in Ghana and let's say Mohammed wants to attack me. I'm not saying Mohammed is a hacker, but let's say Mohammed is trying to do some social engineer or research about me. He may want to get to me directly from Mohammed. Where are you in Saudi Arabia? Where specifically? Are you in Riyadh? Are you in Mecca? Are you in Jeddah? Where are you? Oh yeah, Riyadh. So Mohammed is in Riyadh and I'm in Accra, Ghana. So if Mohammed wants to access my laptop directly, once he has my IP address, it would be very easy for Mohammed to get to me, because then if Mohammed decides to ping me or throw some denial of service attacks at me, it's going to work, right? But then, because he has my IP address and it's only for me, but then using network address translation, the IP address that I would be using on the internet would not really be my laptop's IP address. It would be my router's IP address. So when Mohammed wants to attack me and send certain packets, the router will analyze it, see that, okay, this is meant for Derek, who is in my internal network, but I'm not going to send it to him because probably if there's a firewall, it's going to stop it. So that is exactly. So we are all given one public address, one public IP address, but then internally, we all have our private IP addresses. First of all, for security purposes, and also to reduce the number of IP address usage, all right? So there are more reasons why this is so, and to reduce the number of IP address usage, that is why we created, or they created IP version 6, which is a new version of IP addresses, which means that they can now give IP addresses to even so many devices, including microwave fridges and even gas cookers, right? So that is where network address translation comes in for security, to reduce the attack surface level, and also to reduce the usage of the IP addresses. There are more reasons why NAT is being used. So after the class, you could just research why do we use NAT, and you would get more information about that. All right. So routers operate at the network layer, which is layer 3, and that is where IP addresses are given out. So that is where routers operate. Now, the next device is a proxy server, right? So for a proxy server, who has heard of a proxy server before? Can you show it? Can you just give me a yes in the chat? Have you heard of a proxy server before, or a proxy? Yes, yes, yes. Fantastic. So a proxy server, yes. Abra says yes. Mariam says yes. Ali says yes. Fatima says yes. Asia, yes. Fantastic. I appreciate that. So for a proxy server, it's a computer that acts as a gateway between a local network and a larger network. You see the word gateway has come in again. So it looks like everything can act as a gateway. It is not a gateway, but if you want it to be like a gateway, it would be a gateway for you. So that is why we dealt with NICs, dealt with gateway, and then now we are dealing with every other thing that can be like a gateway. So it acts as a gateway between a local network and a larger network, right? So that means it would be in the middle. And from the diagram, you can see that we are here Maram is here, Abra is here, Ali is here. These are the three of us. And then this will be our proxy server. And then we are using that to connect to the internet. So proxy servers are available on the transport layer, which is where TCP UDP is mainly prominent. And then it can be used to hide your location, because technically that means if I want to send something from my end to Maram, who is somewhere in Saudi Arabia, it is going to go to the proxy server before it goes to the internet, before it gets to Maram, who might be here. So by the time Maram sends that information, it will come to the internet, get to my proxy server, which is my layer of protection, which is hiding my location, before it would get to me. Now, proxy servers have certain features. Sometimes firewalls could act as a proxy server. It has several features. It could check who is sending the packets, where is it going to? And also, if someone wants to, maybe if I've gone to hack someone, which I don't know how to do, I don't know how to hack at all, and I know you all believe me. So if I've hacked someone, and maybe they are trying to trace who did it, Mohammed says, Now they might go through the internet, but then they will get to my proxy server and they will not get to me because they will be stuck at my proxy server, thinking my proxy server did it, but I would be the human being behind it. If any of you have heard of a VPN before, a proxy server has functionality that looks like a VPN, but then they are all not the same. All right. So a proxy server improves your security. It's able to balance your internet traffic to prevent crashes, control websites, employees and staff access in an office. It can do a lot of things for you on the network. And sometimes it can be set up as web filters or firewalls, which would be the next thing we are looking at. So the last thing we are looking at, the last but one thing we are looking at is a firewall. And that is our next class. So we are not going to go too deep into this. So a firewall is a network security device that monitors incoming and outgoing traffic, network traffic. How many of you have seen this diagram before? I mean, it doesn't have to be this specific one, but you've seen a diagram that has this red wall with computers all around it. Have you seen this red wall somewhere before? Yes. Asia says yes. Mohammed, yes. Manao, yes. Khalid, yes. Nujud, yes. Fatima, yes. Ahmed, yes. Hassan, yes. If I missed your name, forgive me because it's running like a typewriter. So Rawan says yes. Rahat, yes. Lama, yes. Hassan, yes. Maram says yes. So I'm actually happy you've seen this red wall before. So in as much as it's a wall, it has a significant, purpose in the IT world, which is a firewall. It is red because they assume that fires are mostly red. So if the wall is being named a firewall, then we have to paint it red. It has other meanings though, but this is the only explanation I can give myself that makes me sleep well at night. So that's it. So you will see that my computer is here, which is on the internal network. The firewall is available here, and then the internet, and then maybe Ohud would be here. So assuming Ohud wants to, hack my laptop, when it gets to the firewall would investigate it, because the function of the firewall, once again, is to monitor incoming and outgoing network traffic. And they would decide whether to allow it or not allow it. Now, the last device we are looking at is an IDS and an IPS. And during your interview, for those of you that had your interview with me, you would have, I might have asked this question, that what is the difference between an IDS and an IPS? And surprisingly, most of you actually knew what it is, which I'm like very proud of, because you all are so smart and you make our work very easy. Lama says yes. So an intrusion detection system, Manal to say thank you. Shukran. I think I'm supposed to say Afwa. Afwa. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, Afwa to that. And yeah, I think by the end of this bootcamp, my Arabic will just be flowing left, right, center. So with an IDS and an IPS, they have just a small similarity. And as the name, the IDS is an intrusion detection system, and an IPS is intrusion prevention system. Now, the detection system will detect the attack. Assuming someone is trying to hack me, the detection system will detect the attack, and then it would alert whoever the administrator is or whoever it is that is supposed to receive the alerts. And then an intrusion prevention system would detect and also actively prevent the attack. So that is the difference between the two, right? They are all trying to detect or prevent an intrusion, but one of them does the double work and the other does this. And I think sometimes we see this, and then the first thing we think about is, but why doesn't everyone use an intrusion prevention system? And this is the reason. Intrusion prevention system might stop the attack, right? And computers have a flaw of, sometimes there's something called a false positive and a true negative, false negative, all of that. Meaning that a computer might think something is a virus or something might be an attack, but it won't be an attack. So you can't trust computers to do 100% of the work. So you might just, as an administrator or a cybersecurity engineer, you might just want to have a notification, then you would investigate. Is this supposed to be what it's supposed to be? Okay, I've seen someone trying to scan me from Riyadh. All right. Was it just scanning? Okay, if it's scanning, there's no need to block them. Maybe they are just using me to check their internet connection. Maybe they are just pinging me. Something very basic. So all the time, the human is needed to confirm whether whatever is happening is actually an attack that needs to be addressed, or probably it's just something that can be ignored. So that is why most people will go for the IDS, because it would mostly check and then advise. Oh, sorry, it will check and then alert you, and then you can do what you have to do. So this is an example of a network, and then untrusted network is the internet that is on the left. Now we have a firewall, which is here. And then we have a network-based IDS, IPS, which we would take a look at when the course starts from week 1 onwards. And then there's a router. Then we have all these devices, which are our servers. Now, this is an example of a typical computer network, and all networks are not this. All network diagrams are not the same, or network structures are not the same. So the firewall is mostly outside the network and is the first layer of defense. Then there would be a network-based IDS or IPS, which is literally an IDS that is on the network. Then there would be the router, because mostly the router would host the local network or internal network. So the network, or let's say SDA's network, is here, and this is the router that will get you in there. Then within that network, we have 3 servers. And on each of the server, there's a host-based IDS or IPS. Host-based means that these IDSs are mostly software and they are installed on the server or computer system, right? So that is the end of the network device slide. And if you have any questions, you can throw them at me. And then we are going to, at 11:15 a.m., sorry, at 11, we are going to have 1 minute of questions or even more. And then by 11:20, we are going to have like a 5 minutes break to do whatever you want to do. Just relax, because we've done lots of content this morning. Use it to relax, calm down, do what you want to do, go and eat some kapsa. That's the only food I know for now. So eat something, and then there's whatever you want to do. Just finish in 5 minutes, and then we come back and then we do the next one, which is to do firewalls. And I think the firewalls are just like less slides. These are just 12 slides. The other one is, I think, 6 or 7. So we would actually finish earlier. So if there are no questions, we have a 5 minutes break. You don't need to leave the Zoom meeting. You can just still be here, because we'll just be continuing in 5 minutes. All right. So we'll continue shortly. Okay, so welcome to the next session in our section, right? Basically the next lecture in our session, just joking. So we are going to take a look at firewalls, and we are going to have a quick discussion, like a 30-second discussion in the chat, very quick. So I think I've already talked about firewalls before, but then I'm going to ask the question again in a different way, right? So these are just 6 slides, but it will feel like there are 20 slides because there are some few things to explain. And the objectives of this is to understand what a firewall is, basically, know the different types of firewalls, and then also to understand why each firewall type is important. Okay, so I was going to ask how many of you have seen this particular image before, but you all said you've already seen it, so you're going to skip that question. Now, the next question, when you hear firewall, okay, what word or phrase comes into mind? I don't need an explanation. I don't need a definition. I want to hear one word. Let's say when you hear firewall, the first thing that comes into your mind, or the one word you can use to describe it is, let's say, a security gate. It makes sense. These are the things I need. And there's no right or wrong answer. So you're at liberty to push any answer you want because we are all trying to learn and get better at this point. All right. So this is open to everyone. When you hear the word firewall, what word comes into mind? So Mohammed says prevention. I totally agree. Rahat says protection. That's also accurate. Protection door by Manal. Perfect. There is defense by Ali Al-Kawanas, and then same defense by Khalid. It protects our computer by Lama, that's also accurate. Security by Shadin, correct. Mohammed says checkpoint. Perfect. I like that one. Checkpoint. Secretary. Oh, nada. I think probably you meant to say security, but I get the idea, and that's still correct. Gaida says filtering packets. Yes, that's a bit deeper and technical, Gaida, but we'll take it. We'll take it. Nujud says monitor and preventer. Good. Monitor and prevent. Monitor and prevent. That's perfect. And then Mohammed says that is block or allow, which is also accurate. Abdullah says checkpoint. So I think that should be all for now. I know if we keep going, you are going to give it to me left, right, center, back to back to back to back till it's like 1 p.m. So we are going to hold off on that for now. And then the last one by Maram is filtering and protection. Now, this is all perfect. And since we know that a firewall is a network device, right? If I had the time, I could use every single thing you've said to explain what a firewall is, right? So we could start like this. A firewall is a network device so I'm going to start from the chat and using the information that has been provided by all of you, okay? So a firewall is a network device that provides security, acts as a checkpoint, it filters packets, it monitors and prevents, is able to block and allow, acts as a checkpoint again, provides security, and then it's also able to filter and protect on a network. That's it. So you can see that we've been able to use every single word that was provided by everyone. I missed some of the words, sorry. So that same firewall, which is a network device, is used for prevention, used for protection, can act as a protection door, can provide defense. It can also protect our computer. It provides security, then checkpoint, security again, filtering packets, monitor and prevent, block and allow certain things on the network, acts as a checkpoint, more like a security gate, and then it's also able to filter and protect. So it shows that everything you have all said is actually accurate. And that is basically what a firewall is. It can do all of these things you've said. So technically, you might not even have to do this class anymore because you already know what a firewall is. You have all answered, giving us the best description I could ever come out with. I don't even think Wikipedia could come up with such a definition at this point. So literally, we are all security professionals. So I really appreciate that. And that is excellent. So we are moving on to the next slide where I explain what a firewall is, but you've already given me all the definitions I want. So it's mostly a first line of defense in network security. When we saw our first diagram from when we were looking at the IDS and the IPS, we noticed that the firewall was right outside the network before there was a network IDS, before there was a router. Do you all remember that? Do you remember that diagram of the IDS IPS? There was a firewall on the network. There was a diagram of what was it? There was a host network IDS IPS. Then there was a router. Then there were 3 servers. Exactly. Yes, it was beside the untrusted network. Thank you, Mohammed. That was it. So the router was actually right there in front. Assuming we were going to war, sorry if war is a touchy subject for anyone, but assuming you are watching a war movie, the ones where they used, those things, and then they're about to fight, they mostly send a particular set of soldiers first, or a particular set of, fighters first. We call them the first line of defense. So after that line, then the next line of defense comes in. Maybe those who are going to throw the bow and the arrow. Then maybe those on horses come in, on and on and on and on, right? So as you can see from the diagram over here, we have 3 cute guys holding a shield, right? And then the diagram might not be clear, but you see some lines, and these lines are arrows. If you look closely, you're going to see an arrow. So that means whenever an attack comes in, the first line of defense for these 3 guys is the shield. So that's why they put up the shield, and that is their form of protection. So the shield at this point is their first line of defense. So that is the idea about what firewalls are about. Now, a firewall is a network security device that monitors incoming and outgoing network traffic. Then it is also able to decide whether to allow or block specific traffic based on a defined set of rules. It is the first line of defense in network security. It monitors incoming and outgoing traffic, meaning that if I send hello, that is outgoing traffic because it is leaving my computer, it is leaving outside to another computer. So it is called outgoing network traffic, right? Any information that is being communicated on the network is called traffic. Data that is being moved here and there is called traffic. So, which is different from the car traffic, right? Resume recording. All right, so I was saying that anything that goes on a network is called traffic. And then if it's leaving my computer to a different computer, it is actually called, if it's leaving my computer to a different computer, we call it outgoing. But then if it is coming from an external computer to me, we can now call it incoming traffic, right? So a network is monitoring whatever is leaving my computer and whatever is coming onto my computer, right? So once it is monitoring, the next thing it does is that it is going to allow or block specific traffic based on a defined set of rules. Maybe I can make a rule that I don't want to receive anything that comes from Maram today. So if my firewall is monitoring, which is what it is doing, monitoring incoming and outgoing, and then it sees that there's information coming from Maram, it is going to block it because I've given it the command to not allow any information that comes from Maram, right? Maybe I would say that, okay, I want to receive only information that comes from Abra, and so whenever information comes from Abra, the firewall would say, come and pass. But then if it is coming from Maram, it is going to say, hey, hold on, you are not allowed here. So that is the job of a firewall. Now, there are so many types of firewall, but I'm going to stop this and then I'm going to draw again, once again. Yeah, if I don't draw, I'll never get perfect. So I'm going to do a quick drawing and to explain something very quickly, how the different types of firewalls operate. So that would be our next slide, our next and last slide, but it contains a lot. So with that being said, so I'm going to stop sharing here. And then I'm going to share from here with the whiteboard. Can you all see the whiteboard? Yes, fantastic. So something is going to happen now. I'm I'm going to do my Picasso again. Oh, Rahat says she supports me. That's I really appreciate that. I can never do this without any of you. And thank you so much. All right, so we are going to give a quick drawing. No matter what you see, just accept it that this is what's, yeah, this is what you have now. I'm your only Picasso. All right, so we are going to start. Zoom. All right. I need to take something off the screen. All right. So we have. I'm going to draw on my other computer, so you would see me looking down here and doing a few things, but bear with me. Oh, Ali, relax. The drawing will be amazing. Ali, relax. It will be perfect. Manal, thanks for the support. So we're going to start. We are going to draw probably a house, right? We are going to put a house here. Right? And then we are going to put like a roof on top of that house. And then another roof on top of the house, right? And then maybe we are going to put a door. Yep, that works. And then we are going to move on and then, draw 3 people. I need 3 volunteers. No, I need just 2 people, 1 guy, 1 lady. Just raise your, just say it in the chat quickly. And then I need to draw 2 people quickly. So I need the names. So we're going to draw 1 person here. I'm going to change the color to, let's say, blue. All right, so Manal and then Rahat. Okay, so Manal and Rahat. So Manal, are you male or female? Sorry, because I'm trying to get the names right so that I could, because I need 1 male, 1 female. Okay, Manal is female, so I need 1 guy because I know Rahat is male. Sorry, Rahat is female too. So I'll take Manal and then I'm going to take Mohammed. All right. So Ali is saying Mohammed. Okay, once Ali said Mohammed, I'm going to use Ali. So Ali, so we have this, and then we have that. And then, yeah, we give them a body. I'm going to give them like everything, teeth, mouth, body, biceps, everything else is going to happen today. Hey, don't do that. Stay where you're supposed to be. Yep. Wow, that looks good. Look at the arms. All right, perfect. So we have 2 perfect people. And then the next thing we are going to have is that we are going to, what again? So one of them will be Ali, right? That is Ali. And then the other would be, who was it? I think it was Manal. Yes, Manal. So Manal, right? So we have Ali, we have Manal, and then now this house, we actually going to do a party in this house. It's a friendly party, right? And then because Manal's hair, if I put the hair, it's going to ruin it, but let's see. Let's do something. Let's do something. Yeah, so pretty. So good at this. Wow. Manal, you're welcome. Yeah, Manal smiling. Ali laughing. Wow. All right. So Manal, if it doesn't look like you, pardon me, okay? Ali, same thing. All right. So next thing we're going to have, oh no, that's bad. So next thing we're going to do is that this house is actually, since Thursday is Saudi national holiday, right? So we are going to have like a Saudi national holiday, party going on in this house. And then we might have to get someone who is going to be like a security man, like a security guard or a bouncer that is going to decide who comes into the party or not. So I need a volunteer. I think Mohammed was available earlier because he put a dot there. So I'm going to pick Mohammed. So I'm going to draw Mohammed and I'm going to make him bigger as usual, just to, So Mohammed here, Mohammed with his body so tall, right? You know, when you're in the car and then they say that objects in the mirror appear closer than usual. Yeah, so Mohammed is going to appear bigger than usual, probably. And then Mohammed here with some cute hands, with some large feet. I can even give Mohammed a shoe, probably. Yeah, no, he has to face the other direction. So Mohammed with some Air Jordans. Yeah, I know the shoes look different, but you get the idea. Yep, looking great. Oh, Hannah, you wish your hair was like Mana's hair. Exactly. Like this is like bone straight hair, 18 inches. Looking good, looking good. So this is Mana. Sorry, this is Mohammed, right? So you're going to put Mohammed here. Let me get the spelling right. Mohammed. All right. So that's why I said I want to get the spelling right, because I've met a Muhammad before and I didn't know that existed. So, oh, I should give whom as Manal? No, Mohammed. Yeah, Mana has an extension. Yeah, I could do something more for Mohammed since he's the, yeah, Mohammed. I hope you like it. Yep, biceps. Anyway, so so this is Mohammed, and then Mohammed is actually the guy that would either accept you into the meeting, into the holiday party or not. Mohammed, you like it? Thank you. Really appreciate that. So now we are going to put right. So we have Ali and Manal want to attend this party for Saudi National Holiday, which is on Thursday. And we might even have the Saudi National Festival going on, the music festival and everything. So they are really eager to be there. And it's happening in this house, which is where it's happening, right? But then maybe we have different houses. So maybe this house is for music. So this house is for music. And then we might have to do one more house. Then we are done with the drawings, right? So another house. Yeah, no. This is not my expertise. I think I do better than that. So we need the box here, line there, and then we get the door. That's the last thing, right? So this other house would be for probably, so this one is for music, and then this one is for laughing, right? This is where we do comedy, right? So there are different houses in there. One is for music, one is for comedy. Then, so we are going to do another assumption that all of these houses belong to me, Derek. It belongs to me, right? I'm the owner of these houses. And Manal is my security guy, right? Sorry. Mohammed is like my security guy, or more like if it was a party, parties have a bouncer in front of them. They are going to check a list, say, hey, are you supposed to be here? Okay, let me check your name, go in, go out, that kind of thing. So Mohammed is our security for the party and is going to check if anyone has to be there or not, right? So these are the people that want to come for the party, Manal and Ali. And then Mohammed is our security who is going to make sure that the right people get into the party. And this is where the party is happening, right? So I would have a list. And then on that list, I would say that, okay, I have two lists. So on that list, I might put in a few things. And the first of them would be age greater than 18, right? Then my next list would be that maybe women only, right? So with that, this is a women only party, right? And that is for the music one. Just a second, moving that here. Moving this here. Then moving this. Perfect. then there would be another list. So this will help us understand the firewalls better, and it would make so much sense. So there will be another list, and then this list is saying that you should be a family member. So family, and then attend last year party. All right, so that's it. That's the last of my drawings, people. So appreciate your patience, appreciate everything. Those of you that stayed with me from the beginning to this point, thank you very much. So now I'm going to explain these diagrams perfectly. And all right, so I hope you can all see my mouse. Okay, let me use the mouse here. So these guys, I need the other one. All right, so Manal and Ali need to attend this party, and Mohammed is going to be a bouncer. And as the owner of these two houses, I have given information on who can come in or not, right? So for this comedy room, we have two rules that need to be followed. Your age should be greater than 18, and you should also be a woman. So here is the case. I'm going to ask questions on whether they will be allowed or not. So Manal reaches the front of the gates and he meets Mohammed, and Mohammed asks you, show me your ID. Manal shows the ID and she is actually older than 18 years old. Does that meet this criteria here? Does that meet the first one? Give me yes or no in the chat. If Manal shows the ID and she's really older than 18, does it mean that age greater than 18 has been met? I mean, not the two of them. Okay, so for this, so you know, can you explain? Because I'm trying to understand. Can you write something on why she will not be like, just for this part? Can you type what you mean? Oh, that's actually smart. Oh, okay. So I said her age is 18 and the command says her age to be greater than 18, right? So let me change it. Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. All right. So let's change it. So Manal's age is, let's say, 20, right? So if Manal gets here, Mohammed, these are my rules. So Mohammed is going to check the rules. And then is Manal greater than 18? Is the age greater than 18? Give me a yes or no in the chat. If it is 20, yes, you can. Yes, Nujud, yes, you're actually right. Mohammed, you're also right. So Nujud says, yeah, 18, no, greater than 18, yes. So I like the way you are good at this logic. So that means that Manal has actually Manal got the first one correct, right? Now, if it is greater than or equal to, yeah, the mathematicians and the logic gates and everything are coming in. I really appreciate that. All right. So now the next condition, is Manal a woman? Because this party is only open to women. Is Manal a woman? Yes or no? Yes. So if Manal is a lady, right, then that means that is also correct, which means both conditions are met. So therefore, Manal can now get into the party. So Manal would be given, oh, come on. How do I move this arrow? So Manal will be allowed to bypass Mohammed. Can you all see Manal moving? You cannot see it, right? Yes, so Manal has entered the party. Now, we are going to take that off. Okay, then we're also going to take this off. All right, so now Manal is gone. So we are going to put a check mark beside Manal, meaning that she was accepted. Now we are going to come to Ali, who has been laughing the whole day because he's so interested. Oh, Mohammed, you see it because you are tall. Yeah, Rahad is saying, and now you're lucky. She's indeed lucky. So I'm not invited. Ali, relax. Ali, we'll get to you. Take your time. Okay, we'll get to you. Ali, We know you are interested in the party. So now it gets to Ali's turn, and Ali is so happy. You can see he's laughing. He gets to Mohammed. Mohammed asks his first question. Ali, which of the rooms do you want to go to? Ali says, I want to go to a comedy room. Okay. Then Mohammed is going to ask, show me your ID card. Ali's ID card is actually 23. So that means, would Ali meet this criteria or not? He's 23. I mean, just the first one, just age is greater than 18, not the two. Yes. So that means I'll put a check mark here for Ali. So Ali met the first condition. All right. Now Mohammed has to check Ali, and Mohammed checks the ID card and it says that Ali is male. And at that point, Mohammed is male. He has no hair on his head, so he's still male. So what happens? Would Ali meet this criteria or not? Oh, Maha says she configures the firewall, so she is Mohammed's boss. Exactly. Yes, the one who configures the firewall is the boss. So yes, everyone says no. So that means that Ali does not meet the second criteria. So at that point, Ali will try to get in, right? Ali start moving. And then Mohammed says, no. Yes, he's not laughing anymore. So let's change the laugh to a frown. Yep. You know that sound, right? So let's make it blue. So now Mohammed is sad. So he can't go to the party because when he got here, Mohammed was like, no, you can't enter because you are not women. That one is for women only. So Mohammed has to now go back. I wish there was an arrow that was looking backwards. I don't know why Zoom does not have a backwards arrow. So Mohammed goes back to where he comes from, right? So at that point, that means Mohammed has been bounced. So he is now sad. So let's put the sadness there. And Mohammed was rejected, unfortunately. So Mohammed gets the rejection. Now, let's assume one more thing, just for the fun of it, okay? We are going to assume that Mohammed, since he wants to still get into the party, right? He wants to listen to some comedy, right? So Mohammed now wears an extension. Will he still be accepted or not? That's a joke. Will he still be, like he's trying to trick the system? Will he still be accepted or not? Would Mohammed be accepted or not? Why is everyone laughing? Oh, will he be accepted or not? So no one is going to answer the question. I'm going to take Mohammed's head away because he's already sad. It's okay. Let me take the hair away. All right. So in that case where Mohammed has changed his hair and everything, this is what we call spoofing, because he's trying to pretend as if he is what is required just to get through the firewall. When we get to stack 3, we are going to see some of these things where we explain that spoofing and trying to trick, changing your MAC address to trick the system, changing your IP address to trick the system, changing her. So this is what, this is what Ali is doing, not Mohammed. Sorry, not Mohammed. So this is what Ali is trying to do, to spoof, change his appearance, to trick Mohammed. So when he gets here, Mohammed might allow him or disallow him, and that is mostly due to the rules, because maybe the criteria for checking, so this is it. So maybe the criteria for checking women is just to look at the hair and not to check the ID card. So once they check the hair, oh, you have hair, go in, regardless of whether your ID card says man or woman. So based on the rules, Mohammed might be allowed if he has some fake hair on. All right. So let's take off Mohammed's hair. Sorry, Ali. Sorry about the names, Ali. Let's take off Ali's hair. He doesn't deserve that. Yeah, Ali might be wearing a tool by now. So, but Ali have a mustache. Yeah. Yes. So Ali could have a mustache, but then that's where the technicalities come in, because some firewalls are very specific. I only want to allow people who are like this and reject all the people who are not like this. So some people can fake it. Maybe Ali could just shave off his mustache for just that day because he needs to listen to that comedy. Maybe Dave Chappelle is coming, maybe Kevin Hart is coming in and he needs to be there. So Ali does not meet the criteria. And as you can see, even though one of the conditions were wrong, Ali was still rejected. And now Ali is sad. It looks like Ali has a mustache that has changed into a frown. So it's like a Mons frown, something like that. So maybe he has a mustache. Yes, that's good. So this type of things you see here is what we call a rule-based type of firewall because it is called perfect packets filtering. We'll look at it shortly. And then now there's another type of rule. So we are going to look at that quickly. All right, so I'm going to clean these. Take these off, right? So now for the music party, the criteria is a bit different or the conditions are different. The first condition is that whoever is coming to the party should already be part of my family, should be my family member, right? And also the same person should have attended last year's party. Now you notice that there's a different kind of condition. For the first one, you can just look at the ID and then just decide, oh, okay, this is what you provided, and I'll just allow you in. So based on what you provided, you were allowed into the first party, which is the comedy one. But then for the second one, it looks like I'll be checking things that I already have access to, which is the attendance list for last year. Second one, which is my family member list. So in this case, Ali is my family member, and he came for last year's party. At least we can't make Ali frown for the whole period, so we have to make him smile. And so we are going to take off Ali's mustache, replace it with, there is the mustache. Now, I need a particular effect. So he smiled. Now, no. That is the mustache. And then that is the laugh, because Ali knows that he might get him this time. Now see Ali. Oh, Ali, you actually wearing spectacles. I could actually give you spectacles if you want. Oh, that's terrible. Too much art is not good. See, the more I add art, the more it looks awful. Yep, Ali is wearing spectacles, ready for the party. Party time. Good. So now, in this particular scenario, we are going to use different assumptions. Ali is my family member. Let's say Ali is my cousin. And then Ali also came for last year's party. Now, Manal may also be my family member. Manal is also my cousin, but then she did not attend last year's party. Do you have the conditions clear? Manal is also family, but did not attend last year's party. Ali is a cousin, but also attended last year's party. So the same scenario, we can go through it quickly. So Manal comes in here, gets to Mohammed, and Mohammed says, okay, let me check my list. I already have it here. And if I check, you're actually a family member. So we would give Manal a check mark there. So you're a family member. And then did you come for last year's party? Mohammed is going to check the list of last year's attendance and say, you weren't here. I'm sorry, Manal. Sorry, you weren't here. So therefore, Manal, you have been rejected. And you can't make it for this year's party, right? This year's music party. So at that point, Manal, with tears in her eyes, right? Manal with proper tears, red tears at this point, will cry and say, please allow me go in. But then Mohammed will say, no, you can't. So sad. You like music, it's rather unfortunate. Maybe next year's party we'll see. So that means Manal has been rejected because she didn't meet the other condition. So we are going to take that off, and then we are going to take a look at Ali's condition. So now Ali comes in again because Ali has already been rejected. This is after the comedy show is done. So Ali has now going to wear spectacles because he knows he will get in. Then Ali comes to Mohammed. We check the records. Is Ali a family member? Yes, Ali is a family member. Checks it. Did Ali also come for last year's party? Yes, he did. So at that point, Ali came for both parties. He meets the both conditions. So therefore, Ali would be allowed to come for this year's party. He gets to Mohammed, says, yes, I know you, bro, get in. So Ali gets to go for the music party with whoever has to come and sing, and they have a beautiful time. So this is how firewalls work. Mohammed is the firewall. Sorry, Mohammed is the firewall. Now the blue thing you are seeing is the network. And the houses you are seeing, the one for music, the one for comedy, these are like the devices or the sub networks or the servers on the network. So if someone sends hello and it has to go to the music server, the firewall has to check certain conditions before it allows you. If you have to go to the comedy server, the firewall has to check these conditions to allow you. And that is where Mohammed comes in. So this is such a beautiful description, and I'm proud of my art. I'm going to save this for future reference because I like it. I didn't expect I could do something amazing, so save that. All right, so I'm going to leave this section, stop sharing, and then we move back to our slide because we are now on the central. Oh, someone saved it. Please don't leak that. Don't leak my art. That is my art. Just joking. Just joking. All right. So back to the types of firewall. We have these things, and all right. So the first type of firewall we are looking at is the packet filtering firewall. Now, for this firewall, a small amount of data is analyzed and distributed according to the filter's standards. Based on the, but was the whole diagram and description okay? Like, did you all get the concept of what I wanted to say? Regardless of the spectacles and the hair and everything, can you let me know through the chat if you understood that whole concept? Oh, all right. So is it only Mohammed that was able to understand the concept because he was the security guard in this story? Any other person? Thank you, Hassan. It was fantastic. Yes, I just wanted to draw in the concept so that when we get to the types, it makes sense. All right. So moving on, for the packet filtering, it is on layer 3, and at the same time, it will just check where are you coming from, where are you going to, just like the example. Okay, where are you coming from? Are you coming from Riyadh? Okay, if you're coming from Riyadh, you can only give information to people who are in Accra, Ghana. You can't give information to people in Jeddah. So that's the source address and the destination address. So that is where a packet filtering firewall does. It's going to check the packet, and the packet is the information that is being communicated. So it's going to check where are you coming from, where are you going, what's protocol, and all of that. And then based on the rules that are set, it would either be allowed or rejected. Now, the next thing is the stateful packet inspection firewall. Now, this firewall is also known as dynamic packet filtering, which is the same one above, and it would monitor active network connections to determine which packets to allow through the firewall. So you remember when I said that for the music room, you need to have some old information, right? That is how the stateful packet firewall works. So it is going to check if you are already communicating. Assuming I want to send information to Hassan, it is going to check if we have already done the three-way handshake, which we'll talk about maybe later in the program. It's going to check if we already have that. And then after checking that, okay, does Derek and Hassan have an active communication going on today? If yes, allow them to communicate. But if it checks and there's no record of Derek and Hassan in the records table, it's going to deny it. You remember the example of the switch where there's a table, which computer name and then MAC address. Same with the firewall. It is going to check for if the two of them can communicate. So there's a table that says that computer 1, which is Derek, is communicating with Hassan's computer, which is computer 2. And then if that communication is active or it is not active. So stateful packet inspection will check things such as that. It is also going to check probably have these two people communicated in the past. And when they communicated, what were they talking about? If they were talking about music, for example, if Hassan and myself were talking about music, then it means that this time, if we are talking tomorrow, we also have to talk about music. So a stateful packet inspection firewall would be using some of these rules to check. So old information would be used as the context to check. And sometimes the state of the communication, is it an active connection? Are we actively talking or not? Maybe is the port closed or not? Such information would be used. Now, the stateful packet inspection is on layer 4, which is the transport layer. That is where TCP UDP operates mostly. And then we have another type of firewall, which is the last but one firewall before this slide is ended, and that is the proxy firewall. Now, a proxy firewall serves as the gateway from one network to the other. From our previous slide, we looked at what a gateway was, and then now we looked at what a proxy was, which is an intermediary or like a middleman between you and the internet. So the same way, a proxy firewall will serve as an intermediary between your network and a specific application. Now, a proxy firewall is a bit different because it works on the application layer, which is layer 7, and it is trying to protect a particular type of application. I think tomorrow we'll take a look at services and pods, and we'll get to understand some of these things better. And you would realize that with the proxy firewall and probably applications, if you want to send email, you have to use a particular port called port 25, right? And packet filtering, stateful packet inspection might not do the work that a proxy firewall can do. Because a proxy firewall will not just check where you are coming from and where you are going, or check if there's an active connection. No, it is going to go deeper. It is going to open up what you are bringing. If, assuming you have a package from DHL, right? What package delivery services do you have in Saudi Arabia? Can anyone just punch in DHL, the other FedEx? You have that in Saudi Arabia? I only use them as an example. Can anyone type in the chat if you have DHL or FedEx or any other delivery service in Saudi? You can type it in the chat. SPL, DHL also exists. All right. So assuming you receive a package from DHL or SPL, now, most of the time, for the other types of, assuming your firewall is supposed to check the package, it is just going to check who is sending it, where it's coming to. Have you received a package from DHL before? If yes, just accept it. But with a proxy firewall, it is going to open up the package, check the content of the package to see if there is anything malicious within it. Check if there's something in the package itself. So a proxy firewall will go deeper into it, and it will check the payload. And then it would also act as a layer of protection between the network and then specific applications. So your HTTP server could be protected with a proxy firewall, probably even your FTP. So it goes deeper than that. Then the last type of firewalls, then we are done with this presentation, is the next generation firewall. Now, a next generation firewall, this type is a combination of the other types with additional security, software, and devices bundled in. So what it does is that a next generation firewall can contain the functionality of a proxy server, stateful packet inspection, and then a packet filtering firewall. And in addition to other features, blocking websites, doing any other thing, like it's so huge. And I think it's one of the newest technologies that is available. Now there's cloud firewall, there's circuit level firewall, all of that. But this is like the new thing that most organizations are buying because it does everything. It even has an IDS and an IPS within it. So you could see most people would go for it, but then it's expensive. And when you go for it, like there are actually firewalls that can cost as high as $500,000, right? So you can go, there are lower ones and there are higher ones. And some organizations will prefer to have, let's say, specific firewalls for specific functions. So if they need a stateful packet inspection, they'll buy a firewall for that. That's only that, put that on the network. If they need one to act as a proxy, they'll get that, right? Because you can't just put the next generation firewall and assume that it's going to do everything. You need to separate these things so that it's able to take the load that is coming to it. Because there's a lot of burden that happens on these networks. All right. So that's the end. There's a circuit level gateway that happens on the, I think, the session layer, that's layer 5. And that's the end of the slide. And if you have any questions, you can throw them at me. Besides that, I think I can stop the recording now and I would upload it.